Hey guys, welcome back to Buzzer to Buzzer. All right, guys. So the sixth week of the 2020 NFL season has officially elapsed. And per the usual, we're going to be going over our top five key matchups, seeing how well we predicted, and providing an analysis of all the five games. So without any further ado, let's get to it. All right, guys. The first game which we are going to be going over is going to be the one between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Guys, the Steelers did end up winning 38-7, improving their record to 5-0 with notable performances from not only Big Ben, but also their run game with James O'Connor working good as well. Guys, our thoughts on this game?
Okay. Yeah, the Steelers played a really good game. They confused Baker Mayfield. They disguised their coverages really well and made him throw a lot of picks. They eliminated the Browns' run game, which completely frustrated their offense. And they played good defense and they played good offense. They did everything perfectly, and that's why they won the game.
The Steelers right now are, in my opinion, our top three team in the NFL. They're just so balanced, in my opinion. Offense, defense, the run game, as you said, James Conner, Rayon, Juju, Chase Claypool, Big Ben, offense and leading their offense, their defense, insane. I thought the Browns were on some hot streak right now. I picked the Steelers last week too, but I thought it would be a closer game. The Steelers absolutely shut down the Browns. Baker Mayfield got benched. They just did everything right, and yeah, the Steelers are a team they could even go to the Super Bowl this year.
The Steelers are known for this defense this season. They've been playing fantastic. They even score a lot of points on the defensive side of the ball. And then, the Steelers offense doesn't have much pressure and they score a few TDs and it's game over. I think it's going to be interesting with Devin Bush's injury, being out for the season. He was a very vocal leader on that team, play calling on and off. So I think, the Steelers is a big hit for them, but hopefully their defense is able to keep going.
I'm just confused as to what the Browns are signaling right here. Some weeks they look indestructible. Arvin gets me to jump on the wagon. I picked the Browns last week, but unfortunately, Baker Mayfield, OBJ combination, I don't know what happened. Sometimes they feel like that they're one of the best combos in the NFL. And weeks like this with Baker throwing for 2 interceptions, getting benched at the fourth quarter as well, just makes you think, is this Browns team a consistent and can they be counted on to be actual contenders? But also give credit to the Steelers. I don't think anybody had them going 5-0 at the first 5 games. They're putting a heck of a show on. Abi definitely can see them being a contender. I wouldn't say top 3, but I can see them in my top 5 NFL teams currently. And if they keep that run game and Big Ben keeps that performance up, I can see them having a bright future in this league as well. All right, guys, now let's go over the second game, which we predicted, that being between the quarterback duel of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. That being the teams, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Green Bay Packers, in which the Buccaneers won 38-10. Now, guys, Harsh called it first. We saw a heck of a performance from Tom Brady, that run game as well, and Rob Gronkowski getting his first touchdown of the season. Love to see that spike. Harsh, get started with you. Your thoughts on this game?
Well, I guess since we're on Rob Gronkowski, the man's washed. I don't know how he got that TD. I mean, he really doesn't do anything for that offense. It's screenplay after screenplay. He's big enough to break like 1 or 2 tackles, gets 5 yards. But I guess it gets their offense going. I'm really excited about this Tampa Bay run game. I mean, Ronald Jones was moving the ball up the field the whole game. It seemed like the Green Bay Packers defense had no answer for him. And I think you guys were too early to call it quits on Tampa Bay.
Calling it quits on Tampa Bay. I just thought that Aaron Rodgers, being Aaron Rodgers, would do a lot more than have 2 picks and 0 touchdowns against a team like the Buccaneers. That the Packers offense, honestly, they didn't even have an offense that whole game. Aaron Jones got that 1-yard touchdown. Other than that, nothing was working for them. Aaron Rodgers almost threw 1 pick six, a second interception, almost going for a pick six again. I don't really see like Aaron Rodgers playing like that. I don't think anyone sees Aaron Rodgers playing like that every single game. And this is like a one bad performance. He probably won't play like this again. But yeah, the Buccaneers did really well stopping the Packers offense.
This is a pattern we've seen consistent with the Packers, right? You look at their last 4 losses. They get blown out in Tampa Bay, then they got blown out in the NFC Championship. They got blown out by the 49ers in the regular season, and they also got blown out by the Chargers, going back to last season by 15 points. I just think they're not a physical team. They got dominated at the offensive line. I would think they got 11 or 13 quarterback hits and 5 sacks. I mean, he's only had 9 hits in 4 games, and then in this game he gets sacked 5 times. So obviously that was a major cause of the offensive issues. For the Packers to be better, they have to play a better offensive line. Other than that, Aaron Rodgers couldn't really do much. I mean, he had pressure in his face the whole game.
Exactly.
Ryan, before you go, there is one thing I want to bring up.
Yeah.
So at the end of the game, Tom Brady walked across the field to shake hands with Aaron Rodgers. Where was that camaraderie? Where was that COVID neglect when it came to Nick Foles on Thursday Night Football? It's very interesting to see, contradicting statements from Tom Brady and this team. I think he should really own up to his mistake and shake hands with his dad, Nick Foles.
Exactly, Harsh. Bro, that was, I guess that Bears team, for sure, some offense taken. That was a bit of a classless act by Tom Brady, something which we don't see often. Is it because he lost to him once in the Super Bowl and once against the Bears? Was the first time he lost to the Bears? That's why I don't know. But talking about this game, the Packers, where were they? Aaron Rodgers, man, I called him the bad man, taking some inspiration from Stephen A. Smith, but clearly he was not that. Throwing a pick six after 300 some days. I mean, we all know the elite quarterback, which Aaron Rodgers is. This game was just not him. Do I think it's going to be a long-term problem? No. I feel like the Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, their combination is way too strong, that bond which they've compelled over the years, for this to be a long-term trend. But give credit to the Buccaneers. Saw that run game being established, something we don't see often. Tom Brady just doing Tom Brady type things. But it's going to be interesting to see if the Buccaneers can keep this momentum up for the next couple of games. All right, guys. Now let's move on to our third game, which we predicted, that being between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Now, guys, we were able to see some hints of a quarterback throwing competition, between Pat Mahomes and Josh Allen. But we also got to see the Chiefs win 26-17. Now, guys, the main theme of this game was for sure Pat Mahomes, but also we saw a trend we've seen in the past 2 games, the run game of the Chiefs, something which we have not seen being developed too often. Our thoughts on this game and that whole run game.
I believe this was the first time Andy Reid has a running back run over 200 yards in like 4 years, which is crazy to me. I think they switched up their whole game plan. Obviously, we know that Patrick Mahomes is a thrower, but because of the weather, I believe they had to run the ball more, and the Bills got gashed. I mean, every single play, Clyde Edwards-Helaire was running for 10, 15, 20 yards. It's crazy. Also, I'll talk about Josh Allen. I mean, he has not looked good these past 2 weeks. We put him in the MVP conversation for the beginning 4 weeks, and I don't know, maybe he's fallen off.
Yeah. First of all, give credit to the Chiefs offense. That's like every week you expect this from them. Pat Mahomes played like he usually does. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, this man, like, he was a star of that game. I'm going to be completely honest. Like you said, Arian, first time in like a while that a Chiefs running back got over 200 yards. I mean, this man makes openings on every run. His yards after contact is great. Every single run he takes, it's definitely at least over 4 or 5 yards. And he's just very consistent of a player. That being said, I'm going to talk about Josh Allen, like Arian just said. I mean, 122 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and one of the touchdowns being garbage time points. Josh Allen. I don't want to say he's fallen off so far. Like he's had a great first four weeks, right? But the last 2 weeks he hasn't done great against the Titans. Now against the Chiefs. The Chiefs don't even have a great defense. So I don't really know like why he's slumping right now. But I think that he should be able to get out of the slump, and I don't think this is a downward trend for him.
I think for Josh Allen here, you give him benefit of the doubt. I think he had a bad game against Tennessee, and the rain definitely played an impact. Definitely had a role on his poor performance. But regardless, as someone in the MVP, conversation, you have to put up better numbers than that. And he's not playing to be in the MVP conversation. He's playing to be the MVP and to help his team succeed. So I think, along with the help that Stephon Diggs has given him this season, you want to see him step it up, or at least play to the level he was playing the first 4 weeks. As for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's interesting to see this run game side of them. And we've always known them for Patrick Mahomes and the Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce connections. But it was nice seeing that they do have another face to them, and it shows that good coaching definitely does help win football games.
Definitely, guys. Give much credit to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 32nd pick, and having a show, putting a display on each and every week, making a name for himself with the Chiefs team. But also, guys, it brings up an interesting dynamic. Throughout these first 6 weeks, we've seen Clyde Edwards-Helaire become a pretty good and reliable running back for the Chiefs. Now, we all know the Chiefs have acquired Le'Veon Bell, which brings up the question, how is he going to fit in? Will there be a competition between these two? Obviously, Le'Veon Bell being a much more experienced running back compared to the rookie Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But I feel like that Edwards-Helaire can make an argument for himself, saying that, hey, I put in a consistent performance, and it's going to be interesting to see how and if the Kansas City Chiefs will develop this run game further. All right, guys, now let's move on to our fourth game, which we predicted, that being between our hometown team, the Chicago Bears, against the Carolina Panthers. Guys, the Bears did end up winning 23-16, improving our record to 5-1. Boy, does that sound good to say. Guys, we saw an all right performance from Nick Foles, but we also got to see Cole Kmet get his first receiving touchdown as well. Our thoughts on the Bears win?
With the Bears offense, right? Each game, I feel like their defense carries every single game. And I haven't admitted it in the past, but I will admit now that the Bears do have a top 5 defense. I know you guys are all like, oh, you're just saying that for this podcast or whatever, but it is my honest opinion. I think I have to give them the respect that they deserve. But their offense, just like the Seahawks with zero defense, this Bears offense is not going to lead them to go far, in my opinion. They can only go this far with just relying on their defense, and with crazy offenses like if they versus Chiefs or when they versus Seahawks or Packers even. They need to improve on their offense too, but yeah, give them credit where they deserve, and they're the first in the NFC North. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to correct a B, not top 5. I'm going to say top 3 defense in the league. But yeah, B's exactly right. I'm really worried about this offense because you can't be putting mid 20 points every game and expect to win. I mean, you can't have the Bears only won because of defense. I think they had 2 picks and 1 pick 6 called back. Their run game is non-existent right now. They David Montgomery hasn't been able to run the ball well, and obviously that's not going to translate well for Nick Foles. Our receivers haven't been getting open. We haven't been throwing the ball downfield. We're relying too much on our defense. But yeah, this is not a winning recipe, especially like we have to play the Packers in our division. You're gonna have to play good teams like that, and so they're gonna have to improve on their offense if they want to win big games.
Yeah, you guys covered the Bears being a top defensive team and the poor offensive performance. But I want to look at Carolina here. I think, Teddy Bridgewater had a huge week 2 weeks ago in week 5. And I think going off of that, we were expecting a lot more from him. He led the league in first half yards after that game, and he took a major step back, I think, throwing interceptions. I just think their play calling too took a major hit. It seems like they were trying to do too much. It seemed like Matt Rule was trying to change their formation. He was trying to run trick plays. There was way too many RPOs that game too. I think that caused the Carolina Panthers to confuse their own offense, causing them to lose this game.
Exactly. Yeah, you guys covered the gist of the game, but I want to take a look now into the future. It's awesome to say that we're 5-1. We got a loaded schedule coming up, which we'll be covering in our next video coming out this week. We're versing teams like the Rams, the Titans, and it's going to take a much better offense along with that stellar defense for us to pull off the win. But I'm just happy that we're 5-1. It's something nice to see for sure. All right, guys. And the last game, which we predicted last week, was the one between the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams, in which the 49ers improved to 3-3, winning 24-16. Now, guys, it looks like we saw the revitalization of Jimmy Garoppolo throwing for 3 touchdowns, over 250 yards thrown, looking like him prime time self from last season. Guys, our thoughts on this game?
Well, first of all, I want to give credit to Jimmy G. I doubted him last week. I was like, oh, if he didn't play good against a defense like the Dolphins, how would he play good against a defense like the Rams? And I mean, obviously he got the win. And speaking of the Rams, I thought that Aaron Donald and their whole D tackle D line would do a lot better. They didn't get a single sack on Jimmy G during that game, man. They didn't pressure him enough. Receivers were open. That's obviously the reason why they won.
Yeah, Jimmy G looked pretty good. I'm not the biggest Jimmy G fan, but he obviously played pretty well last night. Jared Goff, I thought he played well too. I just thought the Rams receivers dropped a lot of balls in the end zone, right? The 3rd and goal and then the 4th and goal pick that should have tied up the game. But yeah, the 49ers look to be very potent this year. All their injured players are getting healthy again, so I definitely think they could contend for that division with the Seahawks.
I don't think the 49ers will be anywhere near where they were last year. I think they're missing too many big pieces, but I still think that 49ers team does have a lot of fight left in them. I could definitely see them making the playoffs this year and turning things around going forward. I think the Miami game was sort of a trap game and off game, with Jimmy G coming back and a few other pieces, trying to put it back together. For the Rams, though, this is scary because if you look at their 4 wins this year, it comes against the worst division in the NFC, in the league, the NFC East. They've beaten the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Washington football team, and the New York Giants. Those are the only 4 wins. 4 of what we consider the worst teams in this league. So to say, are the Rams as good as they say at their 4-2 record? I would like to say that if they had played other schedule or other teams, their record would be more indicative of a 2-4 or 3-3 type team. I'm not bought on these Rams. I have to see them play more games against harder teams before I can believe that they're actually a contender this year.
Yeah, exactly. The record is for sure a bit inflated, to say the least. But I still feel like that we can't lose all hope in Jared Goff. Jared Goff, he is a good quarterback. He's shown what he can do. And despite throwing for that interception this game, I feel like that they lost on that piece of usually we see Tyler Higbee being more involved in the offense as well. But also the 49ers, I'm not sure if I'm ready to call them contenders just yet. It'd be nice to see Jimmy G keep this up for the next couple of weeks as well. Obviously, since they did lose on a piece of Emmanuel Sanders over the summer, they did lose, get hurt that way. But it's awesome to see them still excelling. And it's going to be interesting to see if they can meet that talent, which they had last year. And if so, they can for sure be contenders. All right, guys. Well, was that a great 6th week of the 2020 NFL season? Here on the screen are the updated cumulative record predictions with Abi and Arian leading the way, tied for that first position. Harsh and second, and me behind at 3. It'll be interesting to see how we do make our predictions for next week. Don't miss out on that episode, guys. As always, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe. We are so close to 500, just 40 some subscribers away. It means a lot, guys. Comment down below your main takeaways from these 5 games this week. As always, guys, take care. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you guys.